Powered by Paul out of Northwest Arkansas. We're a performance shop that primarily builds street race cars. We race in the Mid-South, some all over the country, but primarily southern states. We run a 28 10.5 small tire car, single turbo. We're on a team called Just Send It Racing out of Kansas. We're at Drive Sierra in Provo, Utah. We met Chelsea with the company at SEMA about 6 weeks ago. We've looked at their all-electric drive platform. It's a multifaceted race car that's won in several different categories.
My name is Jacob Hawksworth, part of the Sierra team. I got involved with the company about a year and a half ago when I met the founder, Cole Powelson. And at that time, Sierra was, 3 or 4 years into the development of this vehicle and looking to go electric, and that's kind of where the story starts for me.
Through our conversation, we decided to see if the car would hold up in a street race environment doing what we do on the street, sometimes legal, sometimes illegal, but we want to see if the car will hold up and run with some of the fastest small tire cars in the country. Our car's a 1964 Chevrolet Nova. It's a 64 body. It's a chassis car. We ran a nitrous stock suspension full body Mustang for about 8 years, and we had reached the limit of what that car was going to do. It had won, had done well. We ended up racing in small tire classes with a daily car and just could not compete anymore. We had reached the limit of that car, so we faced a decision whether to cut that car up or build another platform. And the car was relatively popular. We made a good sale on it, sent it to the East Coast, and it's still together, still raced, and we decided to build this car. So in about 9 weeks, we started with a bare body, built this car originally, built it a nitrous car as well. The engine is a unique platform. It's an LT-based Chevrolet engine, but we're not running it in the LT form. We've changed the pistons. We've done a experimental cylinder head, experimental intake manifold. And the car was really fast with nitrous. It made a lot of power, but the tuning window was really, really small. The rest of our team just sent it all turbo cars, and it was really difficult to share data. So based on a team decision, we all came together and everybody pitched in, and we swapped the car from a nitrous car to a turbo car in 1 weekend.
So Jake called you out, huh?
Yeah, Jake called me out.
Jake owns
his 2023 Audi RS5 Sportback.
Sport bike?
Sportback.
Sportback. Oh, okay.
Sportback. It's a different body style. The normal RS5 is a 2-door coupe. The RS5 Sportback is a 4-door with a lift back trunk.
Nice. So how do you think your car, your platform, is going to fare against a street car like Paul's?
Yeah, I mean, we really have no idea how it's going to go head to head. One of the crazy things about the Sierra car platform is its versatility. It has a lot of motorsports DNA in it. A lot of the design of the vehicle was really meant to be high performance racing applications, but a lot of it kind of revolves around rally style driving. Most of the changes revolve around the wheel selection for the vehicle and some of the suspension setup. So one of the things that we've never really done officially is any type of drag racing.
Right now they are pulling out the cars at night, so we don't have a ton of light. We're gonna do some test shots, test runs, and then tomorrow we will get an actual race. So who drove the car?
Lucy Block.
Lucy Block drove the car.
Yes. And I'm about to drive it.
That's crazy.
Make just this screen. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, yeah, there's our pedal percentage. Comes up, and then this is our
Your torque.
The torque. Okay, so the torque does increase with up on the brake like it's supposed to, and then it skyrockets to how far away? Do you have time between here?
Yeah.
I would say I want the time from when I go to full throttle. There you go. From there
To the end when you let off.
for one, I want to go from there to when the torque number reaches maximum. So you can see the ramp right there, basically.
Yeah. So 1.275.
1.275 is when it went to max torque.
Yep.
Is that here or here?
So from here to there.
What is it from there to right there? Where the torque peaks?
Okay. So from there about?
From where I hit full throttle, from right there, yeah, to where the torque peaks. Okay, yeah, what is that?
0.373.
Yeah, so we're at 450.
And so if you want, we can get there a lot faster. Because right now it's 500 newton meters per second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Much quicker.
we can make it much quicker.
Well, here's the deal.
It wanted more.
We got to the point where once we figured out the chassis, we unstrapped front end so it'd move a little bit of weight on that shit surface. We got to the point where we couldn't make it spin from a dead spot to dead stop, and it wants more. The way the chassis is working, I was watching the videos last night, the way the chassis is working is the harder we hit it, the better it's going to hook. Mm-hmm. So I would say we could as much as double it easily at the hit. And then are we able to, are we at the max power it's going to make, or can we make more power, more? So like last night we were talking about what we don't have is heat, where you guys are, I mean, obviously your primary concern, and what I'm doing is I'm relating radio controlled brushless technology that I've been racing for 15 years, racing my whole life, but brushless has been 15 years, where heat is the biggest issue. I can run a big battery and I can run a big resistor and I can make a lot of power as long as it's for a short spurt. We don't have heat to deal with.
Yeah. So
knowing that we're not dealing with the heat because we're running it, our goal is to run 5 seconds. Are we able to make more power, or is it at the power of that resistor?
If we're at full charge, so 450 something volts, we can probably get you up to a little over 500 newton meters of torque.
Okay.
And we can also deliver that in like a quarter of a second if you wanted full torque.
Yeah, we need even quicker than that.
So we can play with it. Technically, I can do, I think it's 27,000 newton meters per second. So whatever that ends up being.
Okay. All right, here we are. We are in the middle of an undisclosed location, in the mountains, in the valley, in the wind. We were out late into the night last night testing both cars. We determined that the surface here is not great. The electric car needed a little bit more power, so we went back to Sierra. We waked it up pretty good, put some torque in down low, drug the power out a little bit more, and I think we've got a tune-up now that'll run. We've made a couple test hits with vanilla ice, and it seems to be okay. I think we're gonna have to take quite a bit of power out of it, especially early. I think it's gonna be close so far. The individual draggy times are really close. I'm hoping that I've put enough in it to outrun it out the back, but it's gonna be a race. I'm gonna have to chase him down. He's gonna be out on me early. Fortunately, Sierra's been kind enough to let my son drive the Drive Sierra car, and he's had some fun in it. It's a handful. It's fast. It has turned out to be everything they've said it would be, and some. So we're gonna turn it up. We're gonna get lined up here in a minute. We don't have the typical TV show blocking roads off, everybody looking out for us. So we're gonna get done, and get out of here before the cops show up and give us all a ride with jewelry on. So we will let you all know how it goes soon, and we'll be done then.
All right, Jake, what do we do to the car from last night?
Yeah, I mean, primarily, the major changes on the car are wheels and tires, some suspension setup changes, and as Paul mentioned, we kind of let the software engineers go in and tweak and tune the torque settings and deliver as much power to the rear wheels as we can. So we'll see what it does out on the street. Which has been crazy. Something I realized going through the tuning programs this morning as we were turning the Sierra car up, the tuning parallels between our internal combustion engines and electric engines are very similar. The way that we attack the power, the way that we manage the power, wheel speed, torque numbers, it's all very similar. So I was able to get with the engineers and relate what we do on the street with our cars to what they do with their car, and it was really good to have a common
language between the two of us we were able to do. So using the car for somebody who owns one or takes one or destroys one, or we're planning on destroying one at some point, but whoever has one, the interface is really usable as far as being able to learn how to use the car. It's very, very similar. If you do any kind of racing at all, any kind of power management, I was really surprised at how well they parallel. So I think that we've got a language that we can understand each other, and so far the car's yielded some great results. We were 7/10 quicker right off the trailer, and I think we found some more. So I think we're gonna make it run.
It's gonna be fun to see it.
Tell us a little bit about how this can be powered via this Ford. What is it?
Yeah, this is a Ford Power Boost.
Okay.
So it's a hybrid pickup truck, and it can act as a generator. So it puts out 110 and 220 volt power. So we've just hooked up what's called an EVSC, so level 2 charging for electric vehicles. And we're able to be out here in a remote location and charge the electric vehicle back up and do some more runs.
Cool. So you're able to fully charge this electric unit with this electric unit.
Yep, correct.
That's insane.
And then like the new Ram charger will do it too. So
Speaking of Rivian, you guys see the new app in the Rivian? Well, first off, I want to thank you guys for letting us come out. It's been fun. It's been cold. I don't do the cold, but apparently my car doesn't either. I would say that the car overall really impressed us all. It's extremely fast early. I think that we can figure out ways to pick it up for sure. I think there's a use for it in drag racing, especially in like a daily class or a regulated class. I think the budget that it would take to make it run small tire would be really difficult. We talked about a first, second gear shift and stuff like that, and they would make it extremely fast, probably as quick as anything that's out there with the weight advantage. But to put it in a limited class or something like that, I think it would be extremely competitive. After driving the car on a road course style area, though, I'm really impressed with it. It's every bit what you guys claimed it would be. I'm really impressed with it. I think our car didn't like the altitude. We'd need some more time to figure it out. This is more altitude than we've raced at yet, especially with this combination. So,
yeah, and that's one of the advantages we have with electric.
That's right.
It doesn't really matter what altitude.
That's right.
Even the cold air,
That's right.
It's going to run always the same.
And with an internal combustion engine, the cold air and cold fuel makes horsepower. So the cold air would do great, but the lack of oxygen hurt us, where the cold air for you guys is probably a benefit to keep the heat out of the system. Yeah. And then, the power will repeat repetitive.
Yeah, I think with the temps, we're probably borderline needing to heat the batteries.
Right.
Even for us, discharging full current is much better when the batteries are hot. And a lot of people don't really understand that. But when the batteries are cool, so anything less than, for us, 20 degrees Celsius, which is, like we were, 40s?
40s. 41 when we pulled in, yeah.
Yeah. So, we want the batteries to be 100, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And they never would get that hot. So we probably, typically, if we're going to set the car up to run optimal, we would heat the batteries.
Well, and I felt like the car picked up. The draggy showed that the car picked up the more runs we made. Obviously we were four runs in by the time we did the race.
Yeah.
And I felt like the car picked up every pass. And then, our first race, I feel like wasn't near as close as the second. I think, again, as the batteries heated up and the car wanted to respond quicker. The second race, I was really, really concerned about getting you. We ran a nitrous car for years, and my nitrous car would get out on everybody, and I would look over my shoulder waiting for him to come by with a turbo car. And now I know what they felt like, having a car out on you, and you're about ready to lift and think it's over. And it had enough to run it down. But I would say the second race, I'll be curious to see the video. I don't think he got me by more than, or I got him by more than 30 feet, 20 feet. I know I came by pretty fast, but he was 200 feet out on me at one point. it was fast. It was hard to watch him drive out of my life like that.
Yeah, you can see where electric shines too.
It does.
It's the high torque, low RPM.
Right.
So we get off the line fast.
Well, and the ease of use for you guys, that was we were talking about it, where we do some unnecessary maintenance as far as checking plugs and stuff, especially when we go to a different altitude. But where we're adding fuel and making suspension changes and checking plugs, you guys plugged it in the back of the truck and sat around and waited for us.
There's nothing to do. You just go run after run after run.
Right. Well, and we beat the car really hard today. To know what we went through with the axles and the drivetrain, to know that it held up for wheel hop. Even the car being light and that kind of torque number, for it to wheel hop the way that it did and not break an axle, not break a drivetrain unit, anything, and then to find out that you guys have never broke one, it almost makes me want to get one and see where I can break it, because it's just to know that it lives through that when I'm gritting my teeth, wincing every time the car put wheel hops in it, and again, the more power it made, the better it acted, the less it wheel hopped. So it really does act like any other race car that I've dealt with. The weight ballast is really good. I mean, I can't imagine. Was it 50-50 for you guys? Maybe 49-51?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
It's got to be pretty close to 50-50. The driver's real far forward. I know driving it is a little bit different than anything I've ever driven, being that far forward. Other than maybe an open wheel car, but I haven't got a chance to really drive an open wheel car. I've moved one.
Yeah.
But you sit far enough where you're almost up on the front end, and it feels really good. I know on the road course, drifting it and sliding it, I really liked being that far up, because I could feel the rear end much sooner. Rather than riding on it, I was ahead of it, and it made it much easier to drive. So I'm really excited to get one in an off-road environment or a road race course or something like that out there in Arkansas. There's plenty of places for us to make it shine. So I think we're gonna have to figure out a way to get one out there and see if we can't hurt some feelings everywhere we go.
Yeah, that's one of the things we kind of talked about at the beginning. Was this is an incredibly versatile car.
It is.
We're talking about something that we street race today.
Right.
With a change of tires, being able to go run a dirt track or road course or drifting around. It's
right. Yeah, and
that's the one thing that's so fun is you buy one car, but you can use it 10 different ways.
Well, and that's the deal. If I didn't have a life to get back to, I would stay here and be a personal test driver for you guys, and we'd find out how to break one. But you're absolutely right. I really feel like we can make a shock change, and a tire change, and even then some variance in tires and tire size and stuff. I think I could put the car in any form of motorsports, and I could be competitive in it. I really do. Yeah. And I've raced most forms of motorsports there is.
One of the things we could talk a little bit about with the Sierra, because we saw what basically a factory-built car is capable with, with some minor changes of suspension, some drag slicks. But it gets me thinking about, man, if we're going to build a purpose-built Sierra for drag racing, what would we do? And I think the thing about electric powertrain technology is there's not a lot of people playing with it.
Right.
There's not a lot of people doing the adjustments. And this was a 450 volt car, but we could go to 800 volt. Well, we can do different. We can try different cells. We can try, different high power electronics, inverters, and then there's also all the software tuning calibration work. So it feels like we're just at the very beginning.
Oh, I agree, and that was what I said in the earlier video, that the ease and the crossover of the two tuning platforms is so close that it would be easy for us to take it and put it in a different application or a different chassis even. Somebody to build a light purpose-built drag car, the disadvantage we have in drag racing is weight. Especially with street racing, on a surface like today, I can't get enough weight in the back of the car. The motor, turbo, and everything's in the front, and it's not going anywhere. Where with the electric platform, even if we were to run it through a transmission where we have the two shifts and the advantages that we had talked about, to be able to put the batteries and all of the accessories right over the rear axle, I could make a street race car that would go down any surface and be, relatively untouchable. So to be able to add voltage and add amperage and pick up the horsepower setting, but I think in a chassis-built car, a purpose-built car, that I have some suspension geometry to work with, and I think that we could really make something that would be really, really, really tough to beat.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is Powered by Paul. We've been here in Utah. We have spent 2 days of tearing up parts, freezing our asses off, and getting things done. We want to thank Sierra Cars for inviting us out here, having us here to see their platform, to put it through a bunch of abuse. A bunch that we didn't even have to, but it's been well worth the trip. It's been a hell of a trip getting here, and we're here. Now we get to take our circus act back home. You guys can find them at Sierra Cars, just like it's spelled and sounds the same. They're on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere you want to look, you can find them. Check them out, give them a like, give them a follow. Look for our video coming out soon. We'll make sure we tag our video with them, and you can find us at Power by Paul.